Forget the cost of living and embrace the thrill of living for free in the heart of the North. Have a great time watching. 1 is Strini. Strini is a small yet distinctive island located in southern Denmark, just off the coast of Fun and Fine. With a population of around 200 residents, it offers a unique alternative for those seeking a slower, more intentional lifestyle away from the fast pace of modern cities. In recent years, islands like Strini have gained attention due to Denmark's efforts to revitalize its smaller island communities and attract new residents. One of Strini's most defining characteristics is its strong sense of community. Because the population is so small, people know each other, creating a safe, welcoming, and socially connected environment. Life here moves at a slower rhythm, where daily routines are shaped more by nature and local traditions than by deadlines and urban pressure. Community events, shared activities, and mutual support are central to life on the island. For newcomers, this can be both comforting and challenging, as integrating into such a close-knit society requires openness and adaptation. From an economic perspective, job opportunities on Strini are limited compared to larger cities. The local economy relies mainly on small businesses, agriculture, fishing, and seasonal tourism. However, the rise of remote work has made islands like Strini far more viable as permanent homes. Denmark's strong digital infrastructure allows many residents to work online, making it possible to earn a stable income while enjoying island life. Additionally, during the summer months, tourism brings opportunities such as running guest houses, small cafes, or selling handmade goods. The idea of living for free on Strini should be understood realistically. Completely cost-free living is not possible, but the cost of living can be significantly lower than in major Danish cities. Housing, in particular, can be more affordable, especially if you are willing to renovate older properties. Occasionally, government or local initiatives provide incentives for people to move to smaller islands, but these programs usually come with specific conditions. In essence, Strini offers a more affordable and sustainable lifestyle rather than a completely free one. In conclusion, Strini does not offer a completely free life, but it provides something arguably more valuable, a simpler, more connected, and more affordable way of living. Choosing to live here is not just about relocating, it's about embracing a different philosophy of life. For those who prioritize nature, community, and a slower pace, Strini stands out as a rare and compelling place to call home. Ager. Ager is a tiny, quiet island located in the Limfjord region of northwestern Denmark, with a population of only around 30 to 40 residents. Ager represents one of the most minimal and isolated forms of Danish island living, and like more well-known islands, it remains largely untouched by tourism and modernization, making it an appealing option for those seeking true solitude and a deep connection with nature. Life on Ager is defined by simplicity. The island is connected to the mainland by a small road dam, which means residents are not entirely dependent on ferries, a significant advantage compared to many other Danish islands. This connection allows easier access to nearby towns for essentials such as groceries, healthcare, and education. However, despite this link, daily life on Ager still feels remote and slow-paced, far removed from urban environments. The community on Ager is extremely small, which creates both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, there is a strong sense of familiarity and trust among residents. On the other hand, social life is very limited, and newcomers must be prepared for a quieter, more independent lifestyle. There are no large social venues, entertainment options, or cultural events commonly found in cities. Instead, life revolves around personal routines, nature, and occasional interactions with neighbors. Economically, Ager offers very limited local job opportunities. The island's activities are mainly centered around agriculture and a small amount of local work. For most people considering a move here, having a remote job or an independent source of income is essential. Fortunately, Denmark's reliable internet infrastructure makes remote work a viable option even in such isolated areas. Some residents may also engage in small-scale farming, fishing, or crafts to support their lifestyle. When it comes to the idea of living for free, Ager presents a more realistic version of low-cost living rather than a completely free one. Property prices can be significantly lower than in Danish cities, and in some cases, older houses may be available at relatively affordable rates. However, these homes often require renovation and ongoing maintenance. Daily expenses such as food, utilities, and transportation still exist, so a stable financial plan is necessary. There are occasionally regional incentives aimed at encouraging people to move to less populated areas, but these are not guaranteed and usually come with conditions. Nature is the defining feature of Ager. The island is surrounded by water and open landscapes, offering stunning views, fresh air, and a peaceful atmosphere. It is also known for bird life, making it a quiet haven for birdwatchers and nature enthusiasts. The absence of noise, traffic, and pollution creates a calming environment that is difficult to find in modern society. Here, time feels slower, and daily life is closely tied to natural rhythms such as weather and seasons. Vigels. Vigels is a unique and uninhabited island located in the Odense Fjord on the island of Funen in Denmark, and like other small Danish islands that support permanent communities, Vigels has no full-time residents, making it one of the most unusual places in the country for those interested in minimal or nature-based living. Rather than a traditional settlement, the island functions primarily as a protected natural area, attracting visitors who are looking for peace, wildlife, and a temporary escape from modern life. What makes Vigels especially interesting is its status as a nature reserve. The island is carefully preserved, with large areas dedicated to wetlands, meadows, and coastal ecosystems. Because of this, it has become an important habitat for birds and other wildlife. Visitors often come for birdwatching, hiking, and photography, as the island offers a rare opportunity to experience Denmark's natural environment in a relatively untouched state. The absence of urban development means there are no roads, no shops, and no permanent infrastructure beyond basic facilities. Despite having no permanent population, Vigels does allow short-term stays. There are simple shelters and camping areas where visitors can spend the night, often for free or at a very low cost. This is where the idea of living for free becomes partially true, but only in a temporary and limited sense. You can stay on the island for short periods without paying for accommodation, but you must bring your own supplies, including food, water, and equipment. There are no stores or services available on the island, so preparation is essential. Daily life on Vigels, even for a short stay, is shaped entirely by nature, without electricity, running water, or internet access in most areas. Visitors experience a kind of off-grid lifestyle. Time is spent walking along the coastline, observing wildlife, cooking outdoors, and adapting to weather conditions. This makes the island appealing for people who want to disconnect from technology and experience a simpler way of living, even if only briefly. However, it is important to understand the limitations. Vigels is not a place where you can legally settle or build a home. Environmental protections strictly regulate what visitors can and cannot do, and long-term habitation is not allowed. Additionally, access to the island depends on small boats or organized transport, which can be affected by weather conditions. This means that even short visits require planning and flexibility. Fyn is a small and highly exclusive island located near the east coast of Funen in Denmark, close to the town of Middelfart, and like many other Danish islands that have small local communities or public access areas, Fyn is privately owned and does not function as a typical residential island. With only a handful of people present at any given time, often caretakers or temporary guests, it represents a very different kind of island living, one that is defined by privacy, exclusivity, and controlled access rather than openness. The island is known for its natural beauty, featuring forests, open fields, and coastal views that reflect the classic Danish landscape. Because it is privately managed, the environment is well preserved and maintained. However, this also means that access is restricted. You cannot simply move to Fyn or settle there independently. Living on the island typically requires permission from the owners or participation in organized stays such as retreats, events, or private rentals. In terms of lifestyle, Fyn offers an experience that is closer to a secluded retreat than a functioning village. There are no public services, no shops, and no local economy in the traditional sense. Any activity on the island is usually organized in advance, and visitors arrive for specific purposes such as corporate retreats, wellness programs, or private gatherings. This makes daily life on Fyn highly structured and dependent on external planning rather than organic community interaction. When it comes to the idea of living for free, Fyn does not realistically fit into that concept. In fact, it is quite the opposite. Access to the island is generally tied to paid experiences or private arrangements. Even if someone were allowed to stay there for a longer period, it would almost certainly involve costs or responsibilities in exchange, such as work, maintenance, or participation in organized programs. There is no opportunity for independent, low-cost settlement as seen on some other small islands. Economically, there are no job opportunities available on Fyn for the general public. Any work related to the island such as maintenance, hospitality, or management is handled privately and is not part of an open job market. For this reason, the island is not a viable destination for people looking to relocate for employment or to build a self-sustaining life. Nature, however, remains one of Fyn's strongest features. The island provides a peaceful and controlled natural environment, free from crowds and noise. This makes it ideal for short-term stays focused on relaxation, reflection, or creative work. The quiet surroundings and limited human presence create a sense of isolation that can be both calming and inspiring, but also impractical for long-term living. Tray is a very small and largely unknown island located south of Jylland in Denmark, near the area of Karibsminde, with only one or very few residents at any given time. It represents one of the most extreme examples of isolation in the Danish island system. And like more populated islands, Tray does not have a functioning village, public infrastructure, or a community in the traditional sense. Instead, it is best described as a semi-private, rural island used mainly for agriculture and limited private activity. The lifestyle on Tray is deeply connected to self-sufficiency and independence. There are no shops, no schools, no healthcare facilities, and no organized services. Anyone staying on the island must rely almost entirely on their own resources. This includes managing food supply, transportation, maintenance, and daily needs without local support systems. For this reason, living on Tray requires a mindset that is comfortable with isolation, manual work, and long-term planning. Access to the island is limited and typically requires a private boat. There are no regular ferry services, which makes transportation one of the biggest challenges. Weather conditions can further complicate travel, especially during winter months when the sea can become rough and unpredictable. This level of inaccessibility is one of the key reasons why the island remains so sparsely populated. From an economic standpoint, Tray does not offer conventional job opportunities. The island is mainly used for farming and land management, so any economic activity is tied to agriculture or private ownership. For someone considering staying there, having an independent income such as remote work or personal savings is essential. Even then, maintaining a stable lifestyle would require significant effort and adaptation. Socially, life on Tray is extremely limited. With almost no permanent population, there is little to no daily interaction with others. This can be appealing for those seeking solitude, but it can also become psychologically challenging over time. And like small community islands where social bonds play a key role, Tray offers almost complete independence. In conclusion, Tray is not a realistic destination for most people looking for affordable or free living. It represents an extreme version of off-grid life, where independence comes with significant responsibility and difficulty. While it offers unmatched peace and isolation, it lacks the accessibility, infrastructure, and opportunities needed for a stable and sustainable lifestyle. For most people, it is better suited as a conceptual example of minimal living rather than a practical place to relocate.